All right, hello and welcome to Biblionasium in the Classroom by Jennifer Caldwell and Tiffany Wagner. All right, our goals for this project were going to be to motivate and excite the readers in the classroom, to get students reading more high quality books and high quality literature, and then to encourage communication about books. And we thought that these three goals could all be met using a form of technology, a Web 2.0 tool called Biblionasium. Biblionasium is a free tool that teachers can sign up for. Once they sign up, they can input all of their students' names and reading levels and even input parent email addresses. And then they can use the Biblionasium tool to help track student reading and to help students connect with one another about their reading. At the bottom of this page is a screenshot of a student's page on Biblionasium. The tool basically allows them to create their own little reading website. They have a bookshelf, and on the bookshelf they will add the books that they're interested in reading, the books that they have read that were their favorite books, and books that they have finished during the school year. Students can also see each other's books on this website, so it has a really great social aspect to the website. All right, so one of the goals that we had was to motivate readers. We found that we could motivate readers through Biblionasium by gamifying the reading process, allowing students to earn badges. And you can see on the left side, these are some of the badges that the Biblionasium website has built into it. So as students use Biblionasium, they can earn these different badges, which are very motivating to the kids. Also, they can complete different challenges that the teacher sets up. So once a teacher has set up a challenge for their students, then students can try and compete with one another to complete the challenge about reading a certain genre of books, or reading books from a teacher's selected list of books, or reading a certain number of books or minutes. All right. Also, we wanted students to read more high quality books. I found in my classroom that my students were reading a lot of the same kind of books over and over, and they weren't necessarily the kind of books that the students could really get a lot out of when it comes to fifth grade standards, as far as using figurative language or having lots of character development and conflicts in the book. So we wanted kids to read really high quality books. We created challenges in order to address this, and the challenges we created were a Caldecott Medal challenge and a Newbery Medal challenge. And when students completed these challenges in the lesson plans, then we created some badges that the students could earn, and the badges are shown on the screen here. And I'm going to go ahead and take you to the website so you can see what the challenge looked like. So here's Biblionasium, and here's the Newbery Medal Challenge. And to create this challenge, I basically selected the last 30 years of Newbery Medal books, and I put them up on the challenge. So students could look at the books, they see the covers, which our pre-lesson survey showed that the students usually picked books based on the authors they knew and the cover of the books. So seeing the cover of the books kind of makes it a little more interesting for the kids to see the books and think, oh, this might be something I want to read. And they could then use the challenge that I had set up for them to then track these books once they read it towards the challenge. All right, going back to the PowerPoint. Another goal of our project was to encourage communication about books. We found that students might read a book, but then they didn't really talk to their peers about the book they had read, and therefore they weren't having really deep discussions with their peers about what they read. Part of the fifth grade standards is that students should communicate about the books they read. So we thought that encouraging communication about books could be done through Biblionasium through the recommendations and reviews that students would write, and also through the visual news feed of the books. In a way, the Biblionasium website is set up a little bit how Facebook is, where if you log into Facebook, you can see a news feed of recent events. Well, I'm going to show you if I go to the home page. When you go to the home page of Biblionasium, you can also see the recent reviews and recommendations that your classmates have made. So at the top of my homepage, I see some of Biblionasium's updates where they recommend some books. So no matter what, even if your class isn't very active, the students will at least be able to see the recommendations from the Biblionasium website, which is interesting for the kids. But as they scroll down further through the home newsfeed, they'll actually find the recommendations that students in the class have done and the recent activity from students in the class. And that can be really exciting to kids to see their own information, to see their friends' information, and that might encourage them to review and read different books. All right, so after we'd kind of thought about our goals, we just went forward into developing our lesson plans for how we were going to have teachers and students engage in this activity. Our lessons included 3 days of lessons where the teacher would be instructing the students on different skills related to using the website and to engaging in discussion, communication, and recommendations for their friends. We included YouTube clips that we found from the Biblionasium website or that we created ourselves in order to demonstrate how to use the website. And then we also included links to graphic organizers and rubrics that we use in the lessons so that teachers could replicate this activity. I'm going to go ahead and take you to that part of our website so you can see how that works. So this is our website that we developed for the lesson. And when you go on the left side to develop, you can see the first day's lesson plan. On the first day, teachers set up their accounts and give the students access to the accounts, and it will show students how to search and add books to their bookshelf, and then also how to use the reading log to be able to log the books they're currently reading. For the second day, we move on to how the teacher can create challenges. So the teachers will create their Newbery challenge and their Caldecott challenge with YouTube videos that we created, and then also it shows the students how to log a book in a Biblionasium challenge once their teacher has set it up for them. On day 3, we move forward with having the students recommend a book to their classmates. We have a little lesson where teachers will show their students how to create a book recommendation that doesn't spoil the ending but gives their friends enough information to want to read the book. And then there's also some technical information about how to send and receive book recommendations from the Biblionasium website. And then we also have included some supplemental instruction on the last page, which has the book review rubric that teachers can use in the lesson, and then also an attachment for graphic organizers that students can use when they create their book review and their recommendation. All right, after we developed our plans, we moved on to the implement phase. We implemented the lesson over a 4-week time period. It was in an entire class of 5th grade students, which was 26 students in the class. All the students got the opportunity to use the website and got some practice in reviewing and recommending books as well, participating in the different challenges. Students logged the books, they added books to their shelves, and they recommended books on the site. I'm going to go ahead and take you out to the Biblionasium website so that you can see what it looks like once students had recommended books. So when I log into my account, I can have my own books on my bookshelf. But I can also just click on my recommendations page, which is what's showing up now, and it will show up all the different recommendations that anyone in the class has sent to me. So I had students pick books that they would want to recommend to me, and they show up here. When a student logs in, they will see all the books that were recommended to them, which was just such a powerful impact to the students because not only do they get a recommendation from their friend, but now they can save all these different books. So when they go to the library the next time, if they're not sure what book to look for, they can look on their Biblionasium account and remember all the different books their friends have recommended to them over time. And the website shows the last names of the students, so for their identity protection, I'm not going to hover over the reviews, but if you were to hover over the books, it would show who recommended the book to the student, and it would also show what recommendation that student wrote to the other student. So when a student is trying to decide a book they want to read, it's really powerful for them to be able to hover over the book and think, who recommended this to me, and then why do they say it would be a good book for me, and then decide from there if it is a book they're wanting to try to read. All right, to wrap up then, after we had implemented the lessons with the students, then it was time for us to evaluate how Biblionasium worked in the classroom. We used a survey to compare before and after the implementation where the students had to answer different questions so we could see how their motivation and maybe their attitude changed. More students had recommended books to friends recently. So by the end of this lesson in this 4-week period, we could tell that students were actually recommending books to friends quite frequently, whereas before they maybe had recommended books once a year, whereas now they were talking about, well, I've recommended a book in the last week or in the last couple days. Students read more Newbery and Caldecott books. Students had more positive responses when completing the sentence reading is, so more of them said things like fun or important or interesting. And then rubrics also showed student success in writing book recommendations. And I'm going to leave you with just a couple samples of student use so you could see what a student review looked like after they had read a book and then just wrote a short recommendation to send to their friends. Thank you for viewing.